Hi Sam, zachberhow here. Just want to say thanks for sending the video. So as you bring the club back here in the takeaway, there's a big gap between your hands and your thigh right here. So you can see how far away your hands are from your body. Watch as Tiger brings it back here. You can see his hands are much closer to his toes. So if I draw a line here, see how his hands are right over his toes and his hands are much closer to his right thigh. You can see if I draw a line here from your hands, how far away you are from your toes. And then as you get up to the top here, this is really the big problem I see in your swing, is your left arm gets pinned against your body right here, like your left bicep is on your chest, and then your right elbow here, the bicep and the forearm are touching, and then your hands get very close to your shoulder. So if you look at Tiger here, when he's up at the top, you see he's in a much different position. So you can see this left arm is off the chest, and then now you can see the right elbow is more at 90 degrees, the bicep and the forearm aren't touching, and then the hands are away from the shoulder. So you can just see how much more space and how much more width he has as he's up there. And then you can also see his right hip is a little bit more loaded. So you can see the hips are turned about 45 degrees. Your hips aren't really turned much. So I'd like to see a little bit more hip turn that allow you to get a little bit deeper. And then as you start to come down here, you try and drop it, but your chest at impact here, see how the chest is pointed all the way to the left here? Now if you look at it when he's at impact, you can see how much straighter his chest is. So he's releasing more of his arms and keeping his back to the target longer. You're opening your chest and kind of holding onto your arms as you come through it. And then your finish is pretty good. And then I'm going to send you another picture of the release, and you'll see on the face-on video what the release needs to look like. But the last thing here is just your finish. See how his left elbow is much higher here, hands are kind of above the shoulder. See how your left elbow is much lower, and the hands are close to the shoulder. So I'll cover all this in the drill videos. Hey Sam, so as you're coming back in your takeaway, your hands move really far away from your legs out here. So what I like to see is your hands move closer to your toe line here. So you see how my hand and my arm are closer to my right thigh? You reach out here. Now part of the reason that happens is your hips don't move at all. So as you're coming back, your hips stay stationary. I want you to feel, see how I kind of turn my hips and turn my belly button as I come back here? So I want you to feel, get your handle right in your belly button here. See how I turn with it. So from here, I turn with it, and then now my shaft and my hands are in line with my toes. Another way to think of it is like you're starting a lawnmower. So as I go back, I want to pull from my left foot to my right shoulder back here. So see how I load my hip and turn my hip 45 degrees and my shoulders turn 90. Now you don't want to have your hip go outside your foot, but feel like the right hip is loading and the glutes going back as you shift to the right. So it's a shift from left to right as we turn, and then we get all the way up here. Then as we get back to the top here, because your hands are so far out here, your arms get up here, and then you come down and you collapse, and the left arm gets across your chest, and there's no space between the bicep and the forearm here. So what we want to feel is once we get to here, we want to feel like the arms get wider and away from us up at the top. So if you look at it from this way, as you come back, your arms kind of get here and there's no width. See, I get much more width out here. So I want to feel like my hands are away from my shoulder. Right now your hands are very close to your shoulder. Feel like your hands are more away from your shoulder. So kind of the feeling, if you put your right elbow at 90 degrees, bend your right wrist back. See how I turn, and I'm out here, my arms are more extended out here. Same thing, right elbow 90 degrees, right wrist back. See how I turn, my hands are in line with my heels, but my hands are wider away from my shoulder. So if you look at it from this side, see how I'm wider away from my shoulder? You're collapsed in here. And then see how the bicep and the forearm are touching? See how the hands are away from the shoulder? The bicep and the forearm are no longer touching. Now once we get up into this position here and we get wide and deep here, you're coming down and you're pulling your left shoulder open and you're not releasing your arms and hands. So see how there's a big gap here between the arms? Now if you look at it from this way, the left shoulder opens, and then see how this elbow kind of gets here, and then as you come through, there's just no release. So what I want you to feel is I want you to hold your shoulders back and rotate and release your arms. So from here I'm holding my shoulders back, I'm rotating and releasing my arms here, and then I'm feeling like I'm firing and snapping down like a bounce pass right here. So what you're coming through is you're opening your chest and your torso, and you're holding the club on for dear life, and then nothing really releases. So what we gotta feel is hold the shoulders back, rotate, release, and snap into here, and then see how my arms are more extended through the shot. So once you hit the shot, you want to feel like there's a straight line from your left shoulder to your left elbow to your left wrist to the shaft and the club head down here, and see how I'm making a bounce pass and snapping it down. So the way I achieve that is I want to rotate my arms, snap and fire this way versus hold and pull this way. So that's where your elbow gets bent, you're up here, and then there's no release and no club face rotation, so it's feeling it here as you come through it. And then now as you finish, you're coming up and your left elbow is very low and your hands are almost on your shoulder. So if you look at it from behind, left elbow is very low, hands are on the shoulder here. So what we want to feel is as you come through, I want you to get your left elbow a little bit higher up here and your hands above your shoulder up here. So if you think of it from this side, so see how left elbow's higher, hands are higher, more above the head. So as I'm rotating here, I'm firing the arm, boom, there's my snap. I want to fold up and get the hands high up here, see how I'm more above the head versus being down here. Hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions.